All right, guys, welcome back into another NFL DFS video. My name is Eric Paulzine with 9 to 5 Sports. Going to be getting into the first look here for Week 15. This one on paper is looking like we're going to have a ton of value. It's going to be super easy to make a good build. So I'm pretty excited to get into this coverage, guys. Just a reminder, if you enjoy this coverage, make sure to give a like and subscribe. That helps me be able to put out more content for you guys. All right, let's get started. We'll start off with the quarterbacks. So last week, the theme was basically from 6.2 down to 5.5. We had like 5 quality quarterback plays, and most of them came through except for Tyler Huntley, who ended up getting a concussion in the first half, like at the end of the first half. But other than that, Trevor Lawrence, Kirk Cousins, Geno, and Jared Goff all went off, okay? We don't have that this week, which I kind of like. Okay, because we can easily pay for Jalen Hurts, who could easily go off. Jalen Hurts just went off against the New York Giants, who had been a good defense. He went off against the Green Bay Packers, who were a good defense. He is matchup proof, but that's not going to matter this week with the matchup against the Chicago Bears, a matchup that we have been targeting really since they made all those trades defensively. They're a solid team, but obviously with those trades, their team is just not as good, especially on the defensive end. Jalen Hurts could easily go for 30 DK points once again, and you kind of expect him to. And he has the potential to get Dallas Goedert back this week as well. So Jalen Hurts, yes, he's going to be the top quarterback play on the slate most likely, but you probably should pay up for him. And what else do I like? I love Justin Herbert going against the Tennessee Titans. Okay, Trevor Lawrence, a guy that's kind of has had great matchups, and up until last week, it was a little bit frustrating because he had not been able to take advantage of the easy matchups in the way that you would like him to. Well, now we get Justin Herbert with a healthy allotment of his weapon. Okay, Mike Williams is back. Josh Palmer, good. Keenan Allen, fully healthy. Austin Eckler, fully healthy. Gerald Everett, ready to go. Like, we are good to go with the Los Angeles Chargers offense, and we can see Justin Herbert been extremely efficient the last 4 games, over 20 DK points in the last 4 games, and then tack on the fact that, like the last 2 games, guys, only 1 passing touchdown, and he still went for over 20 DK points. I like that a lot, and given the fact that the last 3 games, 51 passing attempts, 47 passing attempts, 47 passing attempts, I love that. I love getting a quarterback that gets a great matchup going against Tennessee. Obviously, we like that. And it's going to throw the ball a ton. It's going to be super tough not to play Justin Herbert. And it's going to be super tough not to stack Justin Herbert and really potentially this whole game. So from there, we do have to wait and see on some news that is out there. Mike White would be in a good spot if he is healthy and ready to go. I don't know if we're going to know that prior. Okay. It'll be interesting to see what they do. Okay. If he sits. Would it be Zach Wilson again? Would it be Joe Flacco? Any one of those quarterbacks against Detroit would be a good matchup and would be someone I think we need to consider in GPPs, especially for stacks. And if you're looking at the Jets receivers, they're all too cheap as well. So there's going to be a potential to stack there as well. So if Mike White is healthy and active, it's going to be tough not to like him. The last 2 games, 44 and 57 passing attempts. We like that. Obviously got banged up last game, but 10 DK points against Buffalo, not terrible. Yeah, you would kind of take that and still threw the ball for 268 yards. Well, being injured. So 5.4 is someone we can look at. And then from there, I do find this price point strange from Mac Jones. We'll have to see what he does on Monday Night Football. If he takes advantage of that poor matchup against Arizona, then it's going to be tough not to consider Mac Jones at least a little bit. We saw him have a great game against Minnesota. Obviously, that's an easy matchup. And then this matchup with the Las Vegas Raiders would also be an easy matchup. So at 5K, it wouldn't take much for him to go out and really dominate. Could he put up 20 DK points? He could, but that all depends on how he looks tonight against the Arizona Cardinals. And can you play Dak? Sure, you can play Dak. I'm fine with Dak. Obviously, last week, going against Houston, that wasn't a matchup you were expecting him to dominate. You were expecting the run game to dominate. Now against Jacksonville, kind of the whole defense is poor there. So he could have a better game against them. You could certainly use him in stacks as well. All right, getting into the running back room. So like Derrick Henry going against the Los Angeles Chargers. They are a poor rush defense. We know that. We've known that for the whole season. Okay. And he's been involved in the passing game. The question is, will this game be a blowout? I don't think it will. The Chargers always find a way to keep games close. Okay. And the Tennessee Titans do that as well. They've been on a 3-game slide here. So this should be a correction spot somewhat. Derrick Henry should get at least 20 opportunities in this game. And if he does against the Chargers, obviously you like that a lot. Do expect him to get 100 rushing yards. Do expect him to get 20 DK points. He does make a lot of sense as a starting point for this week. Now, from there, both Stevenson and James Conner, who are playing on Monday night, could be elite plays as well. Stevenson, we'd have to wait on news on Damian Harris. If Damian Harris is ruled out next week, then Stevenson is someone that you would almost just need to fire up because he's going to be playing over 90% of the snaps. We're going to see been super involved in the passing game as well. 6 targets is the floor. I would take that any day of the week, especially at this price point, especially with this matchup against the Raiders. We could be locking in around 20 opportunities at 90% of the snaps in a great matchup. Like that'd be something that'd be too tough to pass up on. Then we also could look at James Conner. Now Denver has been a little bit worse defensively via the run game as the season has progressed, and James Conner would be someone we'd be looking at as well. Now this does depend on what happens tonight on Monday Night Football, but James Conner, 2 out of his last 3 games, has played in over 90% of the snaps. Okay, and the only game he didn't was that blowout against San Francisco. It'd be tough not to love him because the chances of him getting 20 plus opportunities while playing 90% of the snaps, having a nice safe floor, that is the stuff we dream of. And we can get both of these players at 7K or lower. That's highly intriguing to me. And then from there, some other decent running back plays we can be on. David Montgomery, I don't mind. Isaiah Pacheco. Obviously, Jerick McKinnon had the big game, but Isaiah Pacheco still continued to do very well. And this could honestly be a situation in which you're kind of doing what you did with Dallas last week, where maybe you're playing Pacheco in one lineup, and if that lineup doesn't include Pacheco, then you're going with Jerick McKinnon. Obviously, Jerick McKinnon just had a huge game, but it's more of a matchup-based thing. That matchup against Houston is one you've been wanting to target this whole season, and it's going to be a matchup that I continue to want to target. So for now, I'm going to put Pacheco in there, and then, like, honestly, when I use the lineup builder, I might just set a rule in there that I want one of these 2 players in every build. Will say Knight has been very impressive, and it seems like he has taken over for that RB number 1 role in that offense. Going against Detroit, can he get involved in the passing game? Can he have another good game? Sure, he can. This is a cheap price point as well. I don't mind that as a pump play. And then also, Dameon Pierce left the game injured. Okay. And then it was Rex Burkhead for the final 2 series. We need to get news on what's going on here, but there's the potential that Dameon Pierce could sit, and then we'd be looking at either Rex Burkhead or potentially Dare Ogunbowale. Now, both of those 2 are basically the same back, so it'd be tough to really gauge which one we should be on the most, but I think it'd be Rex Burkhead as the lead back there because we've already seen that a couple times, and obviously it's a great matchup. So once we have more clarity on that running back situation, that could be a great spot, a great value price point spot to end up on. Now, could it potentially be Eno Benjamin? It could. Okay, we need to get that news prior to, we'll probably get that Thursday, maybe Wednesday. All right, and then getting into the receivers, guys. The receivers are loaded with so many great plays and so many great values. Okay, it's gonna be tough to pay up for a receiver. Okay, like I don't mind Jamar Chase. CeeDee Lamb's gonna be in a great bounce back spot against Jacksonville. You like that? But it's going to be tough not to play Keenan Allen. Price at 6.8, that's too cheap of a price tag. Obviously, 14 targets the last 2 games. Going to play around 90% of the snaps, going to get over 7 targets in this game. It's going to be a pass-friendly game for the Chargers, and it's just tough not to love Keenan Allen. Like, we should be locking in at least 15 DK points. It's pretty simple. Like, for me, the last year and almost going on 2 years, it's like, is Keenan Allen playing? All right, then he's in my build. I'm still going to continue that approach. Just him and Justin Herbert have this insane connection. It's tough to pass up on him, especially at this price point. But you certainly could be looking at Mike Williams as well. Mike Williams, obviously more of a boom or bust play. He boomed last night. Okay, 116 receiving yards, had a touchdown, caught all of his targets, and that's kind of what worries me a little bit, but this passing game should be efficient, and this could easily be a game that you are choosing to stack. I think Mike Williams, Keenan Allen does make a lot of sense, and maybe not many people are going to want to do that. Chris Olave going to be in a fine spot, but I don't know why we'd pay up for Chris Olave when you could go with Garrett Wilson in a great matchup going against Detroit. Obviously, just been on a tear, playing 90% of the snaps. You look at the last 3 games, over 7 targets each of the last 3 games, over 13 DK points in all of those games. If you look at his last 5 games, if you look at his last 6 games, over 13 DK points in 5 out of those 6. He did struggle against New England, which was a tough matchup, and kind of struggled against Buffalo, who has been a little bit better defensively. Obviously, Mike White getting injured didn't help, but they could be passing the ball a ton. The Jets could be. Okay, we have seen that. So Garrett Wilson, pass-heavy offense, playing 90% of the snaps in a great matchup, that would be something I am highly intrigued in at a cheap price point as well. Jerry Jeudy got... He had a little bit of luck, I would say, but it was nice to see him go out and play well. And he's kind of the only one healthy in that offense right now. We saw Mike Boone come back and get injured. Kendall Hinton's injured. Courtland Sutton's injured. KJ Hamler's out. They might just be forced to get him 10 targets in this game as well with Arizona. So he could potentially be someone you're looking at. I don't know if he's a must play, but he's someone that, it wouldn't be shocking to see him get 12 DK points He's not going to get 30 again. Okay. A lot of that was just blown coverages. Don't expect that, but could easily have a solid game. Marquise Brown, I don't really get what's going on with this price point, both on the Monday Night Showdown and this full slate. It's a very strange price point. And it's something where I kind of expect him to have a good game against the Patriots, even though it's a very tough matchup. I kind of expect that, but even if he doesn't, it is a tough matchup. So I kind of give him the benefit of the doubt. He played 97% of the snaps in his first week back from injury. Okay, that is crazy. Saw 8 targets, had 10.6 DK points in that game. Depends on what he does against New England, but he should be a very strong price point play. He's going to be extremely difficult not to play at 5.5 because we know the targets are going to be there. We know the snaps are going to be there. 5.5, I mean, he should easily be able to hit value. So that's where I might go with like Marquise Brown instead of Williams. Deontay Johnson, still basically the same play has been the whole season, kind of just a cheap price tag for him. Should be in for a strong, safe game again. Zay Jones, same play that has always been, a high upside GPP play. On the field a lot, teams passing the ball a lot, can easily have a great game. Okay, it's that simple with him. Then we do need to see what's going to happen with the Houston Texans receiver room. Brandon Cooks was out last week, Nico Collins was out last week, and then Chris Moore went out and had himself a huge game. I mean, that was awesome. 11 targets, 10 receptions, okay? Over 100 receiving yards. Could be a strong price point play. Still, at 4.2, if those two players are out, I will say Philip Dorsett and Amari Rodgers would kind of interest me as well, although we are going to get much better value than that on this slate. So one of those value plays would be Elijah Moore. Corey Davis got injured last week. He got a concussion, probably not going to play. Elijah Moore saw 82% of the snaps, and you would imagine that would go up slightly with that Corey Davis injury. Saw 10 targets, had 6 receptions, 12 DK points. Okay, so that is good. He's going to be playing a lot of snaps. Could potentially play 90% of the snaps in a more pass-heavy offense in a better matchup as well. Elijah Moore would be very interesting at 3.6, and I do expect, Corey Davis to sit. And because of that, someone like Denzel Mims also becomes an interesting play as well. Obviously, the Detroit Lions have been a team that you've been wanting to stack, so this could be maybe someone you're playing in a stack. Denzel Mims playing 69% of the snaps. Once again, with Corey Davis out, we might see that get elevated to 75% of the snaps. Saw 5 targets, had 6.5 DK points. Can he catch a big touchdown? Potentially. That's really what it is, a GPP only play. Do you want to call Brendan Johnson as well? He could step into the receiver number 2 role for the Denver Broncos at the minimum price against the Arizona Cardinals, which are poor pass defense. Could he get to 10 DK points, with 7 targets, 4 receptions, something like that? Maybe. Could be someone that does something. Not someone you're particularly excited about, but there is potential there. DJ Moore is getting an MRI, on his ankle. I don't see why. I guess I do see why they would risk playing him because they are right in the thick of a division battle. So obviously, if he can play, he's going to play. If he does sit, though, Marshall Jr. becomes a very intriguing play as well. Played in 85% of the snaps last week. Gets a matchup with Pittsburgh. Not a matchup that you're worried about. Could easily go off. I shouldn't say go off. Could easily get like this game. 6 targets, 10.6 DK points. That's the issue. We have so many pretty strong value plays on the slate. Shi Smith, I don't mind. Shi Smith is a worse version of DJ Moore, pretty much. And then lastly, we got to wait and see on Jacoby Myers. If Jacoby Myers is healthy and active and ready to go in week 15, it's going to be tough not to play him at this price point. Okay, he has been banged up. That's why he's out. Okay. If he sits, though, you're looking at Nelson Aguilar, who would probably play about 70% of the snaps. And Nelson Aguilar is at a very cheap price point as well. So many cheap receiver plays on this slate. Okay. It's going to make it very interesting. Tight end wise, I think it's going to be a simple approach. Dalton Schultz, going to be the one tight end. If you're trying to pay up at tight end, I would probably go with him. Gets a great matchup against Jacksonville. Could easily go out and have a good game. From there, I'd probably just drop down to Greg Dulcich. Greg Dulcich did exactly what we wanted him to do last week. 8 targets, 3 receptions, 42 receiving yards, 7.2 DK points. That is basically what was expected. Safe floor, strong play. Basically, high target share, over 5 DK points. Now, that's kind of what I expect again. Going against Arizona. Arizona has been the worst defense against opposing tight ends. Could easily go out and have a strong game. I will say, though, he's not as much of a really gung-ho play this week as he was kind of last week, given his safety. Foster Moreau played in basically 100% of the snaps. Didn't get a point. That was strange. You kind of expect that to get corrected. Check here. I don't want to butcher his last name just yet. Looked good. He's looked good the last 2 weeks. And this is where I was mad at myself. I want to do Sunday live streams or and some sort of content, it's just tough, honestly, because it's a small window, and that is something that could personally really hurt the channel more than help. And obviously, if something's hurting the channel, that's not going to be able to help you guys out as much. He is someone that I would have talked up on a live stream, and I just apologize for that. Had a great game. 2.7. Could easily go on and have another solid game against the Chargers, which is a matchup that you're not worried about. Hunter Henry could be in for a good spot. I'm interested to see what Hunter Henry does tonight, because he could be someone that people are just gung-ho about if he has a great game. And then from there, obviously, we would have to make some adjustments from this build slightly. Maybe instead of Brown, although I want to play Brown. Yeah, I don't know. That'd be tough not to play Brown. You know, like last week where there's a lack of like elite plays, I would say. This week, it's looking like there's so many good plays. Cardinals defense with Russell Wilson out, it'd be tough not to play them. Yeah, and even like the Panthers have been such a strong defense, especially if you take out garbage time. I think I saw a stat where they're like the #1 defense in the league besides garbage time, going against most likely Mitchell Trubisky. That'd be intriguing as well. I mean, they did really well against Geno Smith. That's been a good offense. Only went negative once against Cincy. Obviously, Cincy's a great team. But my biggest struggle is like, we know, do not pay up for defense. It's stupid. You just don't want to do that. Last week, I ended up playing Jets D and Panthers D. Those were my two most highest owned defenses. I don't think I played a different defense. That's the route that you want to go each and every week. So maybe the Falcons D is the D that you're looking at. Haven't went negative thus far this whole season. The Saints offense hasn't really been good at all this season as well. Earlier this year, they went and got 6 DK points against them. So, that could be a route that you're going as well. All right, this first video ended up being much longer than I thought it would, but it is fun to talk out the process of the slate. And obviously, I'll be coming out with the core plays video like I typically do, but I'm going to come out with the Saturday core plays video tomorrow, Tuesday morning, and then I'll be coming out with the normal main slate core plays video Tuesday afternoon. Okay, once we get a little bit more information and week 14 is finally closed out, be able to better gauge those slates. All right, thanks for watching, though. That's all I have for you guys. If you enjoyed the coverage, make sure to give a like and subscribe. That helps me be able to put out more content for you guys. All right, thanks, and as always, let's keep cashing.